Money is one of the most powerful forces in human life. It affects where we live, how we think, how we feel, what opportunities we get, the amount of freedom we have, and even the relationships we build. Yet despite its enormous importance, most people never truly learn how money works psychologically. Schools teach mathematics, accounting, and economics, but almost nobody teaches the emotional side of money. And that emotional side is often the difference between financial success and financial disaster. The book The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel explores a simple but life-changing idea. Financial success is not mainly about intelligence. It is about behavior. It is about how people think, react, fear, compare, spend, save, and make decisions under pressure. Some of the smartest people in the world lose fortunes, while ordinary people quietly become wealthy because they understand patience, discipline, and emotional control. This book is not full of complicated stock market formulas or technical investing strategies. Instead, it explains why human behavior matters more than financial knowledge. It explains why greed destroys people, why patience creates wealth, why saving matters more than appearing rich, and why freedom is the real goal behind money. In this detailed explanation, we will explore the most important lessons from the book in a deep and engaging way. Each section will focus on a specific principle and explain how it applies to real life, investing, success, relationships, and human psychology. By the end of this script, you will understand that money is not only numbers on a screen or cash in a bank account. Money is deeply connected to emotions, habits, ego, fear, identity, and time. And once you understand the psychology behind money, you start making better decisions not only financially, but also personally. Chapter 1. Nobody is crazy. One of the most important lessons in the entire book is the idea that nobody is completely crazy when it comes to money. People often look at others and wonder why they make strange financial decisions. Some people invest aggressively. Others are terrified of investing. Some spend every dollar they earn, while others save obsessively. Some people fear debt, while others use debt constantly. At first glance, these behaviors may seem irrational. But Morgan Housel explains that people make money decisions based on their personal experiences, and those experiences are different for everyone. Imagine two individuals growing up in completely different environments. One person grows up during economic hardship. Maybe their parents lost jobs during a recession. Maybe they struggled to pay rent or buy food. That person learns from childhood that money can disappear suddenly. As an adult, they may become extremely cautious, fearful of risk, and focused on saving. Now imagine another person growing up during economic growth and stability. Their parents invested successfully. Their family never worried about bills. They saw money as something abundant and easy to grow. As adults, they may become more confident, take bigger financial risks, and feel comfortable investing heavily. Both individuals believe their financial mindset makes perfect sense because their experiences shaped their beliefs. That is the core message. People do not make financial decisions based purely on logic. They make decisions based on memories, emotions, upbringing, fear, and survival. This idea is important because society often judges people harshly for financial mistakes without understanding their background. Someone who avoids investing may not be ignorant. They may simply have experienced financial pain that changed their relationship with risk. Someone who spends excessively may not be irresponsible. They may have grown up in scarcity and learned to seek emotional comfort through spending. The financial world often assumes that people behave rationally, but human beings are emotional creatures. Fear and greed are stronger than spreadsheets. Personal history matters more than economic theories. Once you understand this, you stop seeing financial behavior as purely logical and start seeing it as deeply human. Morgan Housel also explains that many financial decisions are made only once in a lifetime. People buy houses, choose careers, start businesses, or retire under unique circumstances. Since no one experiences every possible economic situation, people rely on limited personal experience. That means even intelligent people can make poor decisions because they simply have not seen enough of life. The lesson here is not to blindly copy other people's financial strategies. What worked for someone else may not work for you because your goals, experiences, emotions, and risks are different. True financial wisdom begins when you understand your own psychology. Chapter 2. luck, and risk. Modern society loves success stories. People admire billionaires, famous investors, athletes, entrepreneurs, and celebrities. We often hear simplified explanations for success. We are told that successful people became wealthy because they worked harder, thought smarter, or took bold risks. While effort and skill matter, Morgan Housel explains that luck and risk play enormous roles in every financial outcome. This is a difficult idea for many people to accept because humans love control. Successful people often want to believe they earned every bit of their success through talent alone. At the same time, society likes to believe that failure happens only because of laziness or stupidity. But reality is far more complicated. Imagine two entrepreneurs who work equally hard and have similar intelligence. One starts a business during a booming economy. Customers are spending money, investors are optimistic, and opportunities are everywhere. The other starts during a recession when fear dominates the market. Even if both people make similar decisions, their outcomes may be completely different. Luck affects careers, investments, timing, health, opportunities, and relationships. Some people meet mentors at the right moment. Others are born in countries with more opportunities. Some encounter life-changing connections by accident. These events can dramatically influence financial outcomes. At the same time, risk can destroy even talented individuals. A brilliant investor may experience unexpected market crashes. A successful business owner may face economic collapse, war, technological changes, or health problems. No one controls every variable. This lesson teaches humility. It reminds successful people not to become arrogant and reminds struggling people not to completely lose hope. It also teaches us to avoid extreme judgment. Just because someone is wealthy does not automatically mean they are a genius. And just because someone failed does not mean they are worthless. Morgan Housel uses the example of Bill Gates. Bill Gates was obviously talented and intelligent, but he also benefited from rare opportunities. He attended one of the few schools at the time with advanced computer access. Countless equally intelligent people never received that opportunity. This does not reduce Gates's achievements. Instead, it reminds us that luck and circumstance matter more than people admit. Understanding this creates a healthier mindset because it prevents overconfidence. Financial history is filled with people who became successful during favorable conditions and believed their success was entirely skill. Later, when conditions changed, they lost everything because they underestimated risk. The key lesson is balance. Work hard, improve skills, make smart decisions, but never assume you fully control outcomes. Respect uncertainty, respect randomness, and remember that financial success always contains some element of luck. Chapter 3. Never enough. One of the most dangerous psychological traps in life is the inability to feel satisfied. Morgan Housel explains that many people destroy their lives not because they lack money, but because they constantly want more. Human beings naturally compare themselves to others. In modern society, this comparison never stops. Social media constantly exposes people to luxury lifestyles, expensive cars, giant homes, designer clothing, vacations, and displays of wealth. The result is endless dissatisfaction. The problem is that desires expand endlessly. Someone who once dreamed of earning $50,000 may later dream of earning $100,000, then $1 million, then $10 million. The goalpost keeps moving. The book explains that enough is one of the most important concepts in finance. Knowing when you have enough protects you from greed, stress, and dangerous decisions. Morgan Housel shares stories of extremely wealthy individuals who lost everything because they could not stop taking risks. Even after achieving enormous success, they continued chasing more money, more status, and more power until they eventually collapsed. This lesson applies to ordinary people as well. Many individuals spend beyond their means because they are trying to maintain appearances. They buy things they cannot afford to impress people who do not truly care. They confuse wealth with status. One of the hardest skills in life is learning to say, "This is enough." Society constantly encourages more consumption, more competition, and more comparison. But endless desire creates endless stress. The irony is that people who constantly chase more often feel poorer emotionally, even when they become wealthier financially. They lose peace, relationships, health, and freedom while trying to reach a level of success that never feels satisfying. The lesson is not that ambition is bad. Ambition can create progress and opportunity. But ambition without limits becomes destructive. Wealth should improve life, not consume it. True financial maturity means understanding that the purpose of money is freedom and stability, not endless competition. Chapter 4. Confusing rich with wealth. One of the most powerful ideas in the book is the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich people spend money. Wealthy people keep money. This distinction is simple but life-changing. Society often admires visible signs of wealth. Luxury cars, expensive clothing, large houses, jewelry, vacations, and social media lifestyles create the image of financial success. But Housel explains that appearances can be deeply misleading. Many people who appear rich are financially fragile. They may have high salaries, but little savings. They may own expensive items purchased through debt. They may spend most of their income maintaining an image. Real wealth is usually invisible. Wealth is money saved and invested for the future. It is financial security. It is ownership of assets. It is having options and flexibility. The challenge is that invisible wealth receives little social attention. Nobody sees your retirement account, emergency fund, or long-term investments. Society rewards visible spending more than quiet discipline. This creates psychological pressure. People want recognition, admiration, and validation. As a result, they often spend money to signal success. Housel explains that spending money to show people how much money you have is one of the fastest ways to have less money. The truly wealthy often live below their means because they value freedom more than appearances. They understand that every dollar saved creates future opportunities. This chapter also reveals why many high-income individuals remain financially insecure. High income alone does not create wealth. Wealth is created through saving, patience, and consistent investing. A person earning modest income while saving regularly may become financially independent, while a person earning huge income but spending excessively may remain trapped. The lesson is clear. Stop focusing on looking wealthy. Focus on building actual financial strength. Chapter 5. Time is the most powerful force. Most people underestimate the power of time in building wealth. Modern culture celebrates speed. Fast money, quick success, instant results, viral growth, overnight millionaires. Society constantly pushes urgency. But real wealth usually grows slowly. Housel explains that compounding is one of the most powerful forces in finance. Compounding means small gains repeated consistently over long periods eventually become enormous. The key factor is not brilliance. It is time. Even average investments can produce extraordinary results if given enough years to grow. The book highlights how Warren Buffett became one of the wealthiest people in history largely because he invested consistently for decades. His greatest advantage was not only skill but longevity. Most people underestimate exponential growth because humans think linearly. We expect steady progress. But compounding starts slowly and accelerates dramatically later. This principle applies beyond money. Skills compound. Relationships compound. Reputation compounds. Habits compound. A small positive habit repeated daily may seem insignificant at first, but over years, the results become enormous. The challenge is patience. Humans are emotional and impatient. People want visible progress quickly. When results are slow, they become discouraged and quit. Successful investing often looks boring because it relies on consistency rather than excitement. Housel explains that good investing is less about making brilliant decisions and more about avoiding catastrophic mistakes. Consistency beats intensity. People often lose money because they chase excitement, trends, speculation, or rapid gains. They underestimate how powerful simple, patient investing can be. This chapter teaches that time is often more important than timing. The earlier people start saving and investing, the more powerful compounding becomes. And perhaps the greatest advantage anyone can develop financially is the ability to remain patient while others panic. Chapter 6. Freedom is the highest form of wealth. Many people believe the purpose of money is luxury. They imagine expensive homes, exotic vacations, luxury cars, or public status. But Housel argues that the greatest value of money is freedom. Freedom means control over your time, the ability to choose where you work, the ability to say no, the ability to avoid toxic situations, the ability to spend time with family, the ability to rest, the ability to pursue meaningful goals. Money becomes powerful when it gives people independence. This lesson is deeply important because society often confuses consumption with success. Many people sacrifice freedom in exchange for appearances. They take on huge debts to maintain lifestyles they cannot truly afford. As a result, they become trapped in jobs they hate because they must continue paying for their lifestyle. The book explains that true wealth is measured by how much control you have over your life. Someone earning moderate income with low expenses and strong savings may experience greater freedom than someone earning millions but burdened by debt, stress, and constant obligations. Morgan Housel explains that the highest dividend money pays is the ability to control your time. This is why financial independence matters more than luxury. The ultimate goal is not endless consumption. The ultimate goal is peace, flexibility, and autonomy. Freedom reduces stress because it creates options. When people have savings and investments, they can survive unexpected problems. They can leave unhealthy environments. They can make decisions based on values instead of desperation. This chapter completely changes the meaning of wealth. Wealth is not simply about buying more things. It is about owning your life. Chapter 7. Save money without a specific reason. Most people save money for clear goals. They save for a house, education, retirement, vacations, emergencies, or large purchases. While these goals are important, Morgan Housel introduces a deeper idea. Save money even when you do not know exactly why. Life is unpredictable. Unexpected opportunities and unexpected problems appear constantly. People who have savings possess flexibility. They can respond to changes more effectively because they are not trapped. Savings create emotional security. A person with savings can survive job loss, medical emergencies, economic downturns, or personal crises with less panic. At the same time, savings create opportunity. People with financial reserves can start businesses, invest during market crashes, relocate, learn new skills, or pursue better careers. Without savings, every decision becomes controlled by immediate survival. Morgan Housel explains that savings are not only financial tools. They are psychological tools. Savings reduce fear. Many people live under constant stress because they operate without margins. One unexpected expense can create disaster. The book also challenges the idea that savings require extremely high income. Saving is often more connected to behavior than salary. Some people earning moderate incomes save consistently because they prioritize security. Others earning huge salaries save nothing because they continuously expand their lifestyle. The lesson is simple but powerful. Savings by flexibility. And flexibility creates power. Chapter 8. Ego, showing off, and social comparison. Human beings deeply care about status. Throughout history, people have always compared themselves to others. In the modern world, social media has intensified this comparison to dangerous levels. People constantly see curated images of success, luxury, beauty, travel, and wealth. As a result, many individuals spend money not to improve their lives, but to impress others. Morgan Housel explains that this is one of the most destructive financial behaviors. The irony is that people often misunderstand what attracts admiration. When people see expensive possessions, they usually do not admire the owner as much as the owner imagines. Instead, they imagine themselves owning those possessions. This means people frequently sacrifice financial security trying to gain social approval that barely exists. Ego pushes people toward unnecessary spending, excessive risk-taking, and financial insecurity. Many individuals buy larger houses, luxury vehicles, designer clothing, and expensive lifestyles primarily because they want validation. But status is temporary. Once one achievement becomes normal, society quickly moves on to the next comparison. This creates endless pressure. Morgan Housel teaches that humility is financially powerful. People who avoid unnecessary comparison often make calmer and smarter decisions. They focus less on appearances and more on long-term security. The most financially successful individuals are often those who can resist social pressure. This chapter also highlights the importance of defining personal goals instead of chasing society's expectations. If people constantly compare themselves to others, they will never feel satisfied. Peace comes from internal standards, not external validation. Chapter 9. Wealth is what you don't see. One of the most misunderstood ideas about money is that visible spending equals success. Morgan Housel explains that true wealth is invisible. When people see luxury cars, giant houses, or expensive vacations, they see spending. But spending does not necessarily mean financial security. Actual wealth consists of assets, investments, savings, and ownership that are often hidden. A person driving an old car may secretly have enormous investments. A person living modestly may have complete financial independence. Society rarely notices invisible wealth because it is quiet. This creates a dangerous illusion where people mistake consumption for financial strength. The book encourages readers to stop judging success based on appearances. Some of the wealthiest individuals in history lived surprisingly simple lifestyles. They valued independence more than public attention. The lesson is deeply psychological. Humans naturally seek visible proof of achievement. But financial maturity means understanding that real strength often remains unseen. Money stored and invested creates future possibilities. Money spent purely for appearances disappears. The people who quietly build wealth often experience less stress because they are not trapped trying to maintain expensive images. They focus on long-term stability instead of short-term recognition. This chapter teaches that the richest-looking person in the room is not necessarily the wealthiest. Sometimes the wealthiest person looks completely ordinary. Chapter 10. Room for error. One of the smartest financial strategies is leaving room for mistakes. Morgan Housel explains that life is unpredictable, and people should always prepare for uncertainty. Many financial disasters happen because individuals assume everything will go perfectly. They invest aggressively, take excessive debt, or build lifestyles with no margin for error. But reality rarely follows perfect plans. Unexpected events always happen. Markets crash. Jobs disappear. Businesses fail. Health problems occur. Economic conditions change. People who leave room for error survive these challenges more effectively. Room for error means maintaining emergency savings, avoiding excessive debt, diversifying investments, and making conservative assumptions. This approach may appear less exciting, but it creates long-term survival. Morgan Housel emphasizes that survival is the most important financial skill. People cannot benefit from future opportunities if they are financially destroyed today. This lesson also applies emotionally. Many individuals become overconfident during good times. They believe success will continue forever. But intelligent people understand uncertainty. They prepare for outcomes they cannot predict. The goal is not perfection. The goal is resilience. Financial plans should be flexible enough to survive mistakes, bad luck, and unexpected changes. People who survive long enough often eventually succeed because time works in their favor.